Hey, it's Chris. Today we're going to be talking about Apple's upcoming WWDC. It's got a date now, it's been announced, so it's official. I want to go through what can we expect. Obviously, iOS is going to be a key focus of the next WWDC. We've had iOS 17, so we're going to be moving on to iOS 18. People are actually saying that iOS 18 might be the most significant overhaul or update in iOS history. Now, that's a big claim. And part of what's driving it is going to have to do with a focus on AI. Right now, when you think Apple and AI, you think Siri and you think, not very good. When Apple acquired the app Siri and baked it into their operating system, it seemed like a really big deal, and then it seemed like it stagnated. Now we've got things like ChatGPT and Perplexity. We've got OpenAI's Sora coming out, which is just like incredibly lifelike video that's text to video. So generative AI. And Apple needs to catch up. They don't have anything in that department. So everyone's speculating that that is going to arrive and get baked into all of Apple's devices, especially the iPhone, at WWDC this year. Of course, we're going to see some little quality of life improvements as well. And sometimes those little quality of life improvements turn out to be like pretty big deals that completely reshape how your experience with your iPhone goes. So I'm looking forward to some of those little surprises. I've been to several WWDCs in person, and every year there's always something that is like, oh, I didn't know that I needed that. iPad OS, of course, is expected to see some very similar updates to what we get on the iPhone. I think what the community is hoping for would be a couple of things. Number one, some improved battery life. That would be awesome. Sometimes you can get those tweaks with just software. Number two, I know there's some people who have a few things they want tweaked when it comes to multitasking on the iPad. So maybe we'll see some kind of revamp to Stage Manager. I think it's improved already quite a bit since it came out. More than anything, I think people are excited to see, are there going to be any other partnerships or some extra development in terms of more robust apps, pro-level apps for the iPad ecosystem? On the Mac side of things, we got Monterey recently, and I have to say, Monterey didn't really blow me away. I was mostly excited about iPad OS. Like, Stage Manager came to both last year, but that was a bigger deal for the iPad. What I think I liked the most last year for the Mac was the new continuity feature, which was universal control. So you could control your iPad and your Mac with one keyboard and one mouse. That's pretty cool. Like, that's an Apple thing. Only Apple would do that. And that genuinely made people smile. You know, on the Mac side of things, and just talking about AI, you know, it makes sense for Apple to jump into AI because their chips are some of the only chips powerful enough to let you run local LLMs, for instance. So you can use something like LM Studio right now on your Apple Silicon powered Mac. If you don't want to pay for something like ChatGPT, you want something that's free, that's just as powerful, not quite, but just about, you can use LM Studio on a Mac, which is pretty crazy. So it makes a lot of sense for Apple to lean into what people are already doing and wanting to do with this powerful hardware. Probably not since Apple debuted Freeform back in 2022 was I so excited about something on the Mac. Now, I do love Freeform, and I'm actually making a course called Freeform Unleashed to help people go way, way, way beyond the basics of Apple's coolest app, in my opinion. So I'll link that up down below so you can get in on the pre-sale, which is 50% off right now until that launches. Traditionally, WWDC is not hardware focused, but we do have a few Macs that we're waiting for to get updated with Apple's latest M3 chip. I think we could see a new Mac Studio, maybe a new Mac Mini, maybe a new Mac Pro. In terms of the Apple Watch, we're looking for watchOS 11. We're on 10 at the moment. I think things are generally a little bit more efficient now, and the experience overall does make better use of the screen real estate. The rumors so far, though, for watchOS seem to be pointing to more of a mundane, sort of iterative update from WWDC this year. Now, that could be totally wrong, but you can tell from what people are saying and what's being leaked for iOS that there's a big difference between the expected enhancements and features coming to the iPhone versus what's coming supposedly to the Apple Watch. That said, this is a fitness device. I know people are looking for some enhancements to health tracking, some battery life improvements. That would all be very welcome. Now, we talked about the potential to see some new Mac hardware, but it's also possible we could see some new Apple TV hardware. For sure, tvOS will have some updates, and that's good. I use Apple TVs all over the house, but I think we'll end up seeing extra smart home integration come to not just the actual physical Apple TVs, those boxes, but probably to Apple's HomePod lineup as well. With all the AI hype surrounding Apple and WWDC this year, it'll be interesting to see where that gets baked in right off the bat. Will that come to the smaller things like your watch, you know, the less hyped things like your HomePods or your Apple TVs? I don't know. I think eventually probably. But one thing you know for certain is that Apple's going to spend a lot of time talking about privacy. They always do. They've made it a marketing cornerstone. It's usually one of the more boring parts of the presentation, although it is important. You know, we got passkeys recently, and that was cool. We've started to see that roll out, and you know, that does streamline things a little bit. One interesting possibility is that we could end up seeing Apple Vision Pro 2 come out already. Of course, Apple's all excited about Apple Vision Pro, and there's already plenty of people who are really into it, but it's going to remain more of a niche thing until that price comes down. So when Apple comes out with more of an entry level or MacBook Air or iPad Air kind of equivalent for the Vision Pro, like a Vision Pro Air, let's say, then it's not going to be something that's super mass widely adopted. I think this is always going to be the plan. It's just a matter of how quickly will Apple get there. And we'll see this year if Apple can move pretty quickly and come out with a new one just a little while after they announced the original Vision Pro. So there you go. There's kind of a preview of what we might end up seeing at WWDC this year. Let me know what you're most excited about. Let me know if you've heard some other rumors or what you would like to see, what you're hoping for down in the comments. Don't forget to check out the course, Learning to Be Productive. Will help you get more done in less time in the Apple ecosystem with less burnout. And the new course, Freeform Unleashed, if you want to go way beyond the basics with what's my favorite Apple app. Not just my favorite whiteboarding app. Muse is cool, Infinite Canvas is cool, but Freeform is so powerful and I'm using it in ways that I don't think even Apple ever dreamed of. So check those out down below. I'll catch you in the next video. Later.